If somebody wrote this as a movie script, you would probably complain that the writer was exaggerating. But this is evidence being given before the Madlanga Commission. A former police officer starts by saying he was pushed aside because he refused to participate in wrongdoing and claims only his black colleagues would work with him. Yeah, already you are thinking, what exactly was happening inside that station? But then the story takes a completely different turn. The witness alleges police openly threatened his son, told him to update a funeral policy. Today's hearing was like a crime movie. Leave a comment below and please like this video. Thank you.
Particularly, it would seem that you are targeted.
It does seem that way. I wasn't popular when I was in the police. I wasn't one of the guys that did anything illegal. So I always tried to do the right thing, and henceforth, unfortunately, you get shunned when you do that because you're seen as working against the grain. Because I spoke out against any injustice that I saw while I was in the police. And a lot of my colleagues didn't like that. I can go further to say that none of them would work with me. When I was in uniform, only my black colleagues would work with me. Nobody else. Because I didn't do what they were doing, I was against what they were doing. As far as Bevan goes, there are policemen at Wentworth and at Brighton Beach that I listened to what Len John said yesterday, that there's certain policemen that would favor certain tow trucking companies. There were instances and certain policemen that did that as well. And Bevan didn't participate with that relationship between policemen. It was purely business. I know that there's money is exchanged as favors between tow trucking companies and police. When I was in uniform, I witnessed it. Okay, let me clarify that. They did not say it both together. It wasn't a one-off statement that they made. These guys overtalk one another. And they were in an aggressive manner. It was like anger in them. So they both said it, but not at the same time. It's like the one was repeating the other. They said it on numerous occasions. So it wasn't just clearly we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do that together.
But who said to you, you must get Bevan's funeral policy up to date because I'm going to bury him?
They both said it. Dina Governor said it first, and one of the Naidu, he repeated it. But as I say, it wasn't said once, it was on a number of occasions. They speak fast and they don't stop talking.
And again, why did you not open a case? Because now they're making a direct threat.
I didn't believe that the case would be accepted and that anything would become of it. Because I can say why, I can elaborate, because my wife, my daughter-in-law, both daughter-in-laws went to the police station and they tried to open cases at Brighton Beach. I was placed in a police vehicle and heard Captain Dina Govender, one of the Sivanide and one of the Naika having a discussion that they would get Bevan's attorney to bring him in. They would book Bevan out for further investigation, shoot him, and Captain Dina would cover it up. The dog unit policeman said he had one more firearm to plant. Captain Govender also said that they were going to sort out the Newlands East boys. This is a reference to the people who live in Sawfish, Newlands East, the Sawfish Road in Newlands East, and who were people who grew up in the Wentworth area before being shifted to Newlands East. While I was handcuffed, I also heard one of the policemen, Captain Bevan of the Durban Metro Police, phoning Hendrik Noonans, who was Bevan's manager, and telling him to come to my house. When Hendrik Noonans arrived, he was immediately handcuffed and placed in a police vehicle. He was questioned and taken to his house in Garmouth Road, Bluff, which is about 100 meters from our premises on foot. He was arrested for possession of an unlicensed firearm, which was allegedly found in his premises. Before we left to go to the police station, Captain Dina Govan told Warrant Officer Naika to remove the Toyota Hilux. He sent other policemen to remove the hard drive of the CCTV footage in Bevan's house. I asked him why he was taking the vehicle which was used in the business, and he said it was used in the commission of a crime. I was taken to the Brighton Beach police station When we were at the station, I was told by Captain Dina Governor that they were charging Bevan for attempted murder for shooting at the police at the Bluff Meat Supply. These allegations were blatant lies because Bevan was never at Bluff Meat Supply and in fact had not left the premises at our family home that day. The police removed the CCTV hard drive because it was evidence that Bevan did not leave the premises. It is for this reason that in my interdict application, I sought the return of the CCTV hard drive that would prove Bevan's innocence and cover the conspiracy to implicate him falsely. At the Brighton Beach Police Station,
Mr. Raftus, did you receive the hard drive back? Because
I did not receive the hard drive, Commissioner. I have a report in the response, in the police response to my application. There's a statement by the electronics department where the guy says, the policeman says that he received it, he opened it and he downloaded footage, but there was no footage for the day of the 3rd of February.
Can I request that we play that recording and then go back to the file, to the statement at page 15, paragraph 52.1, but we'll start with the recording.
The old star, Mr. Clive himself. How are you?
Yeah, Moses, yeah.
Like a lot of money, 2.5 on my head now, eh?
Moses, yeah. Evan, you.
How you can to tell time to set me up?
iPhone 10, I don't
Yeah,
fucking
me,
know.
I never ever fought with you. I got no problem with you, but look like you after me. You paying dinner, governor, you paying all the carols. You went back to do all these things to me. I never had nothing to do with you. I never minded your business. I got no flop with you. But Bali, you went out of your way to do all these things to me. You wanna kill me and all. What kind? Bali, where's the numbers?
Are you making allegations against me or are you telling me the truth?
I'm asking you, where's the numbers, Bali? I never do fuck all to you. Check your word, I'm fuck all to you.
Telling the people I killed Regan.
See our Bali. See our checker. No flop. You wanna kill me, right? No flop. The fastest lives the longest. Right? Laka.
Thank you, Commissioners. I think, I'm not sure whether it was audible enough for your purposes.
Yeah.
In any event, the transcript is at page 113, just to contextualize things. Now, this is the recording. Is this the recording that you were referring to earlier?
That's correct. That's the recording.
And at page 113 is a transcript.
Yes.
Is that an accurate?
That's inaccurate.
Okay. And you were present when that call was made?
It was made presently. It was his phone was on speaker.
Okay. And what was the purpose of the call?
After he phoned Vali, or let me say before he phoned Vali, he was agitated and he was quite angry and he was under a lot of pressure because he was tired of this. You remember, he hadn't been out of the premises for a long time. Because when he heard that there's a hit on him, he said to me, they're not going to get me because I'm not going to leave the premises. So, like he says, he can't go out.
Sorry, just repeat that.
He couldn't leave the premises. He says he's going to stay in the premises because there's a hit on him and if he stays at home, they can't get him. Henceforth, Hendrik Noonan ran the operation in the yard and on the street with the tow trucks, etc. So he was angry. So when Hendrik Nunes came over, he was on the phone with Vali. Vali phoned him a few times, harassing him about this motorcycle. So Bevan was agitated by that, so he said, no, I'm going to phone him. I need to put him in his place, kind of, He didn't use those words, but that was the gesture, so to say. And then afterwards he said, you know what? I don't know this Clive Nika. He says, I'm going to phone him and ask him why he's doing this to me. And that's where the phone call came from.
And where did he get the cell phone of Mr. Nika, if it is Mr. Nika?
Yes, that he could get the phone call, but he was resourceful. What happens, you get a tow truck driver that drives for the operators on the bluff. And from time to time, they jump areas and they go and drive in other areas. So obviously they make connections and friends with the guys that work for the different. So those guys have the contact numbers for their employees or their bosses. So he didn't tell me where it got, so I'm assuming that's how he got it. Because you hear conversations when a guy would ask, one of the drivers say, have you got so-and-so's number? Then he'll be like, no, let me phone so-and-so, and that so-and-so will phone so-and-so, and the number will come, with the information, so to say. Yeah. But I wasn't present when he actually got the number.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can't take that further with you as such.
Yes.
Then you confirm or seem to confirm that on the call was Mr. Naika on the other end.
Yes.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, look, okay, let me retract that. I can't say that it was him because I don't know him and I've never met him and I've never heard him speak. Based on the conversation and the phone call, I'm assuming that that was him.
And why is that?
Well, from the conversation, when Bevan called him, Mr. Clive, Mr. Roadstar, he acknowledges, he continues the conversation acknowledging, I would say that is an acknowledgement that it's him.
Do you know whether his company is Roadstar?
Yes, I do know that he owns Roadstar Towing.
Okay. Can you then read paragraph 52.1, which are the points you wanted to highlight?
52.1.
Page 16 of your statement.
Page 15, yeah.
15.
Yeah,
15.
52.1.
Yes.
When he answered the phone, Mr. Clive Naika was not able to identify Bevan at first. As soon as Bevan mentioned the 2.5 million hit, Mr. Clive Naika instantly and immediately identified him. And accused, he immediately identified him, Bevan, and accused Bevan of killing his uncle. When Bevan accused Mr. Clive Naika of paying Captain Dina Governor to kill him, Mr. Clive Naika did not deny the allegation.
I want to take issue with that. I think you should listen to the recording in the context of everything that was said. Let me take you to page 113, 113. I read 113 at the top.
Okay, I've got it, Commissioner.
Yeah, the fifth entry where Bevan is speaking says yes, and then how you can phone Dane to tell Dane to set me up. Then the response by Captain Naika. I'm sorry, Mr. Naika. I phoned Dane. You see, even the fact that is asking a question there, I phoned Dane. It should tell you that implicit in that is, it may in a sense be a denial. I don't even effing know who Dane is, so it becomes clearer. I've never, so your source about me having called Dane to set you up, that's false. So that's a denial.
Yeah.
But let's go further down. So yes, it's not. It does not directly deal with the 2.5, but the context is the 2.5, and the setting up by Dane is in the context of the 2.5. So let's go further down. The long. There is what Bevan said there. The longest. By him. He says, second last line, towards the end, you want to kill me and all that kind. And then the response by Mr. Naika, I don't. You want to kill me? I don't. Are you making allegations against me or are you telling me the facts? So when you look at all this in context, he actually did deny the allegations. It's on that basis that I say I take issue with what you say when you say he did not deny.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Commissioner.
I'm saying it's on this basis that I say I take issue with your statement that Mr. Naika did not deny.
No, fair enough. That's the way it's read.
All right.
Accept that.
Chairperson, perhaps one has to understand the context of the issue, whether it's taken with whether it was not Mr. Naika on the other side, or whether it's a matter of having put a contract on his head. I just think we need to distinguish that for his purposes as well.
I'm just proceeding on the assumption that it was Mr. Naika. And what I'm addressing is the statement by Mr. Loftus that Mr. Naika, if it was Mr. Naika, did not deny the allegation. That's all I'm engaging there, Mr.
Those instances you deal with, the incidences where you have met him previously. Can you deal with that, please?
Commissioner, in 2010, when I was based between 2010 and 15 in Durban, in Durban South at Wentworth, the late Bevan Loftus was a notorious figure already. The station commissioner of the time I was serving, coincidentally, was my station commissioner at Mayville when I arrived there for those few months. He was a Colonel Panzale, which was studying his LLB, and once he achieved it, he had taken early pension or resigned. But coincidentally, he got promoted to a full colonel, and he was moved to Wentworth as a station commissioner. So when I had taken up a post, I ended up working under my ex-station commissioner, which I served for 8 months. So there was a relationship. When I arrived, he said immediately, I know you know what you do in Houston. This is your team. Fix this gangsterism thing up that's happening. Fix this problem. That's how we spoke at a management level in absentia of our members. So I would strategize how we would go, either doing road shows or doing proactive policing or reactive policing, whatever we did, to improve the situation. But coming back to how I could identify Bevan. Bevan was arrested by me on request of the station commissioner saying there's a case open, I do not have the case number by the way, where he had threatened to shoot a policeman. The policeman's name was Warrant Officer James. He was working in the one crime prevention unit, but not direct under me. He worked alternative to the group that I was working. And what the station commissioner disclosed to me was that nobody wants to arrest him, as to go for him, because there was a fear. Sorry, I'm just having water, Chair. So I did a patrol with my team. I looked for Bevan. I couldn't find him. I didn't go into the Bluff area, which is like beyond my patrol area when I was at Wentworth. I left it and I said, I'll obviously come across him because he's notorious in the Wentworth area. I was coming from the area which I live, I'm not going to mention it, before the panel. On the M4 I was heading, and as I came off the M4 into the Wentworth area, there was a patch, where they called it a patch, where I saw these 3 tow trucks parked. I was going to start duty about 10 o'clock in the morning because I used to work a flexi. I was alone. I always worked alone on my vehicle and my members close in other vehicles. And I saw him. I approached him and he knew who I was because they aliased me Robocop in Wentworth. Obviously, I was fully attired when I worked with equipment. But I approached him and I said to him, you're a person of interest. I know that you carry a firearm. I know that you have a licensed firearm. But I need you to make your firearm safe and hand it to me. I'm taking you in. The detectives need to speak to you. He was standing with about 8 guys there, but it's 3 tow trucks. They were smoking whatever under some form of drugs. Could have been dacha. I was not interested in that. I was alone. But I managed to apprehend him, place him in my vehicle, front seat, and I drove him to the police station. But I had his firearm with me. It was a 9mm pistol. When I got to the station, I took him straight upstairs, and I informed the station commissioner at that time to please get hold of the investigating officer. He has access on the computer to see who's carrying that docket, because he's an outstanding suspect for intimidation case where he threatened to kill a policeman, a warrant officer.
Captain, when you're told that he's notorious and no one wants to arrest him, what was his notoriety? What was said that he's notorious for?
With my short arrival, I would say when I arrived in Wentworth, I had a small team. I had to work for a trusted team. When you say a trusted team, I had a small team of 1 female and 4 males. And there was diversity. I
I had 3 Indian members. I'm going to speak across the race group, young members. I had 1 new constable colored and 1 new female constable. And the 4 were resident Merebank Wentworth. They lived in that community. The female lived in Sydenham. So when I had to familiarize myself with the different territories in Wentworth or the different gangs, they were of much of assistance to me. So I was able to identify quickly which type of gang is operating in which street, because they don't have it's not widespread Durban gang and Maritzburg gang. It's very close. Streets divide the gangs in Wentworth. So just to come back to answer you, Chair, I used to see this guy sitting where the Hollywood gang is, in Woodville Road. Even though I knew that his granny was in Reiger Road, and Reiger Road was where a notorious gang, the Young Destroyers, was from. But he was not sitting with that gang. He was sitting with the Hollywood, and that Hollywood gang was led by a person, I don't know if I should name him, but he's a fugitive at the moment. He's someone that's wanted as a sentenced prisoner. He's sentenced, but he's somewhere on flight. But that's where I would see him sitting, like you'd see these gangsters sitting, and I say, who's this? You look at a face, you say the guy's got an innocent face, but then these young people that say, hey, who's this, Cap? This is so-and-so.
I guess my question is you did listen to the previous witness.
Yes, I did.
His father. And I'm just trying, when you say he was notorious, I'm trying to understand, notorious that he's a gang member, that he's a drug person, that he has serious criminal allegations against him. I'm just trying to understand what were you told he's notorious for?
Chair, the Hollywood gang is not an honorary gang. And I had a previous witness say it's no more. There's no such, it's no more. This gang was dangerous just like any gang in Wentworth. They were a feared gang. There was 2 gangs that were opposition and they took each other out. There were funerals every weekend night to police in Wentworth. Sometimes double, sometimes triple funerals. Of ages of youngsters of all kinds. And these gangs were policed harshly by us. When I say harshly, there's some media, obviously, they put where we made arrests and that they actually felt we harassed them, both sides. But when I say notorious, he never moved with a friend that he schooled with. He moved with the head of the Hollywood gang, which is somebody that is running for murder, sentenced already.
Thank you.
So was he notorious by association, not because he was wanted for a particular crime? Because there's a difference. If you say he was notorious because he moved with this gang or that gang or that gang, that's different from saying he's a known killer or he's wanted for committing.
Chair, with the place where he's sitting, it's not just sitting where you're sitting and having a social. It's a yard that's got about 6 pit bulls. It's got people that unlicensed guns in there. It's got walls about as high as the ceiling. Every time I did a raid there, we had to breach, as in terms of pass the walls and then pass the pit bulls before we get to them. And drugs are sold live as we sit here. Even if we call someone now to say, just go do a live video with us, it's sold live there. So you're not sitting where you're saying you're talking to an ex-gangster or someone's reformed from prison or a school friend. You're sitting right there. So, I don't know if it's correct to say the birds of the feather flock together. How would you label me if I'm sitting in a drug den, if my brother's a drug dealer? You're going to obviously say I'm dealing in drugs. Whether you smoke or you don't, whether you drink or you don't. He's not moving where I say, coincidentally on a sports field, or maybe coming out of a church service or a youth service or a program. You're sitting in a drug den. It's more clearly Hollywood. The shootings happened right there. The killings happened right there. The whole community knows this. Went to this crime. But I've seen this thing. It's like nobody wants to speak about what's happening. But that is what's actually happening. But I know this Bevan is late, he's no more. But Bevan associated himself not with two gangs, with one gang. He was part of Hollywood, just to place emphasis on it. Of later, I've learned, during my few months left in the police, I've learned about the west side and the east side. And that west side and the east side goes across KZN, maybe South Africa. But just to take it back home domestically, they belong to the west side. So these gangs have expanded, where they say you're either from the west or the east side. You hear these talks, it's like it loses you. I gotta keep asking the younger people, hey, what's west side? What's this east side story? And then it comes out, they tell you. So you don't hear this Hollywood, cartel, young destroyers, the young Americans, you don't hear that. But you'll hear west side. Then you identified as you, the same kind as me, we're not enemies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. I think you are going to then, because you've dealt extensively with the first encounter, at paragraph 18 you deal with the second encounter with Bevan, where he was a complainant in this instance.
Yes, I went on again. Bevan and his dad are somehow were in business. But Bevan walked into the station and opened a case. Again there, this is how we worked as a reaction team from Wentworth. As soon as there's a positive suspect or person of interest, we don't let the case get cold. If the statement is strong, you identified your place of residence. Wentworth is as small as my fist, if I say this. There's no hiding space. You can't run. We would go bring you in. And like I say, yes, maybe that's why I was aliased in a different way. But I'm saying this, we'll pursue you. Bevan opened a case where his dad was the suspect. And that took me to his house. What took me to his house was, again, the detectives were not following through on the docket. The suspect was outstanding. And they knew they're not going to go take that vehicle from his father, which was an exhibit. I went up and I dealt with the matter. Did not meet his father. The very three houses described are right next to each other like my three fingers. Got a long driveway. You wouldn't be able to say who's staying in which house there. When I was given an address, a mark of where I could find the taxi, I was looking the 1 yard behind the house. I was being told by neighbors, but all three houses are owned by this family. So I was a bit confused. It was in the Brighton Beach area, which is just up across from Wentworth. And I spoke to Bevan's mom. She spoke over the wall. She said, her husband's at work, and what do I want? I said, he's, again, person of interest. Bevan has opened a case. There's a case number. I would like to access the vehicle. I saw the vehicle, but I could not remove it because the dad was at work, allegedly. In the evening, before I could finish the tour of duty, the dad arrived with Bevan in the station, and both attacked me as to why was I there. But he was the complainant. To summarize it, he withdrew the charge against his father. So they most probably sorted their issues out after the visitation by me.